Give me what I need, give me what I want this speed.
Just 2 races remain in the regular season as we sling our way east to the Garden State and welcome you to today's NESRN coverage of the NJ Transit 500, race 26 of the 2026 season of the NR2003 Mission Barbecue Cup Series. Hi, hello, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and it's a gorgeous afternoon here today in Hamilton Township, New Jersey, as once again, welcome to today's Intercast on the North American Sim Racing Network, your home for the NBCS. Live on the NESRN, my name is Trey Wright, and with 11 spots still up for grabs for the 2026 NBCS Chase for the Championship, all eyes turn to the 5 corners of the Trenton Fairgrounds Raceway for what's sure to be an incredible penultimate race before the chase. Looking back to last week's maiden NBCS race at the Old Spice Raceway, where Cole Sampson took home his first win of the season, the 2020 winner of today's race absolutely dominated over in Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin, and looked for a possible Cinderella run into the chase to continue after today as he starts 4th on the grid this afternoon for the NJ Transit 500. But with 2 races left in the regular season, one driver is mathematically locked in as of today, that being the number 96 of Alex Sambatale. The Blue Archive Aggies Racing Toyota team earned their 11th top 10 finish of the season last year with a 4th place run at Old Spice, and despite starting in last today after not being able to post a 34-second lap time in qualifying yesterday afternoon, Sambatale's team is still the presumptive favorites to win the regular season championship with nearly a race's worth of points in front of Zachary Fitzwater's number 99 Ford. The big thing for him over these next 2 races, trying to get a win. Again, going into the chase, there's going to be chase points for wins, there's going to be bonus points for stage wins as well, and that's the only category that Sambatale is really lacking in. You look at a guy like Zachary Fitzwater, who's one of the 8 drivers coming into Trenton with a mathematical chance to lock into the chase. Fitzwater needs a solid run in either Dano Georgi or Brandon Wilmington to win in order to lock up a wildcard spot. And he is ultimately, with those 3 wins on the season, looking to be one of the favorites going into Darlington for the opening race of the chase. But the same goes for Riley Sampson, who will be locked in based on the wild card with his 3 wins as well. And looking at the drivers that can lock in based on points, Daniel Bouchard just needs to have a solid top 30 run to mark his first ever spot in the chase, while Bryce Egan, Alexander Rowe, and Danny Fallington would need to place inside the top 5 to clinch, or top 10 if they gain stage points. A 3rd win on the season for either Brandon Wilmington or Dano Georgi would establish their berths in the chase, but looking at the chase bubble right now, only 8 drivers encompass it between Angel Gutierrez and Igor Barreto, with Keegan Thompson into the chase by 47 points over Corey Case. For those drivers on the bubble, they desperately need great runs today, while both Brenna Wilmington and Matthew Hubert hold on to the wildcard spots, although Wilmington's struggles as of late have caused him to plummet even further in the standings. And a couple more bad finishes here today and at Pensacola next week could potentially cause him to fall outside the top 30 if the cards fall the wrong direction as well. And he just needs a solid pair of top 25 runs over these next couple of races. It's easier said than done. He starts 38th on the grid today, and next week's a super speedway, so we have no idea what's going to happen there. But overall, a lot can still happen. A lot is still remain up in the air to transpire here with 2 races left in the regular season. But Trenton has been a staple of hot and cold when it comes to the chaos, as traditionally it's been a staple of the end of the season proper in November. It's the first time since 2021 that we've held a race here in the regular season, and last year drivers certainly found chaos with 3 cautions on the board right around both pit cycles these teams will endure today. Based on that notion from last year, the overcut is going to be the most viable strategy for this race, and it will likely become a game of chicken to see who will be the first one to come into the pits and risk being caught a lap down if a yellow flag flies during the pit cycle. Although if you remember the 5-caution marathon we had here back in 2020 with the carnage, the flips, and the chaos in the maiden race here 6 years ago, you never know what to expect on the 5 flat turns of the Trenton Fairgrounds Raceway. But since we're just a few miles from the Trenton Airport, it's time to go wheels up on the final pair of races of the regular season, which also means it's also time to turn them on and grid them up. We send things down trackside for the most famous words in motorsports to fire the engines for the penultimate race of the regular season, the NJ Transit 500.
Drivers, start your engines!
42 cars fired to life on the pit lane here at the Trenton Fairgrounds Raceway, and we're ready to light them up for race number 26 of the 2026 season. Keegan Thompson, your Atlanta winner from earlier on this season, starts on the pole position, has the best chance of anybody to get the win here today at the Trenton Fairgrounds, with Campbell Marsh making up the rest of the front row. He'll start on the outside pole position. The sophomore driver looking for his first career NBCS win. A freshman driver back in the inside of row number 3, the 19 of Wyatt Walker, looks for his first career win as well. Cole Sampson looking for 2 consecutive wins in that 5 car. He rounds out row number 2. A couple of drivers back in here looking for their first wins of the season. You got Roberto Crown Jr. rounding out the top 5, and rounding out the starting 6, Ryan Durrani in the 86 machine. As we get a look back in here, Daniel Bouchard and Alex Sanvitale, the drivers, first and third in the standings, qualifying 42nd and 41st respectively. But it's a long race, 68 laps going on the board, 500 miles here just outside of the capital of the Garden State. And we're ready to see some fun stuff here on the 5 turns of this Kidney Bean racetrack just outside of Trenton, New Jersey. NR 2003 pace truck will make its way down the pit lane, and here we go. Sticks are going to be high in the air for the regular season. 2 races left in the regular season. Its green flag is out and away. Let's go racing here in Trenton, ladies and gentlemen. Like we talked about in qualifying, inside lane is going to be the dominant way to go for these drivers. And Keegan Thompson, 5 points for winning the pole, 5 additional points for leading a lap. And that will bring the cut line up to 57 points in favor of Keegan Thompson, at least as of right now. We go back in here, a lot of drivers still jockeying for position midway through. You've got Matthew Hubert, who fell back immensely, 5 positions down to the second wildcard spot, is the only way he's in the chase right now. Currently deep in the grid in 27th after qualifying 29th, so he's +2 so far on the pylon. Couple of drivers, 3 wide off of the corner back in here. Russell Blades on the outside looking for that second one of the season for your Chicagoland winner. And at the front, Keegan Thompson continues to hold on. 2 laps led on the afternoon, and here comes Wyatt Walker. And pretty much everybody on that inside lane making their way up to the front. Though Campbell Marsh, even though he did start on the outside lane, started in second, he has remained in second. So other than Marsh, and actually Cole Sampson, he's relatively inside the top 5 as well. Again, you go back to 2024. Mitchell Collins pretty much out of the window going into the final couple of races of the season. 1 at Michigan and 1 at Armory Digital to establish himself as the 10th driver in on points. Cole Sampson a little bit further out than Mitchell Collins was 2 seasons ago. He's currently 29th in the standings, if memory serves me right. He's currently 27th. He moved up 4 spots after that dominant win last week at Old Spice. And here he is, a chance, probably his best chance to really get that second wild card spot. We've already seen one Sampson brother, Riley Sampson, completely blow things up in the chase grid, and he's right towards the back end of the field in that 24 car. Trying to make some moves. Igor Barreto on the outside. We might get 4 wide off the corner. A little bit of contact. Right, that's Danny Fallington right on the back end. That Fastenal Dodge. And all sorts of chaos out back in here as we go on board. That 92 car, Braden Perez, 3 wide, nearly 4 wide in front of him. Toby Murphy, the Hamilton Township native. Making work. Little contact there with the defending winner of this race, Logan Williams in the 17 Dodge. Beautiful facility here just off of Route 33 in Hamilton, New Jersey. The Hamiltonian native just trying to get things going in that 38 machine. Right-handed turn, the kidney bean down the back straightaway. You can see the top 3 cars are all starting to pull away. You got Wyatt Walker trying to maneuver his way to the inside of the 31 car. Back to the front we go. We could have a really good battle for second brewing up in here, and we do. Here comes Wyatt Walker, the rookie. The only rookie on the season that has not yet tasted the champagne of victory lane. Bryce Egan, Russell Blaze, Aaron Abel, and Mateus Bento have all gone to Gatorade victory lane so far. Wyatt Walker, the 5th and final rookie, would try to become the first rookie class that would try to complete the first ever rookie class that would all win in the same season. And he'll maneuver his way underneath of Campbell Marsh for that second position, but it's Riley Alberta's Keegan Thompson. We didn't mention him as a driver that could mathematically clinch his way into the championship, but again, you know, given how strong the pole position is at this racetrack, you could very well see Keegan Thompson, especially with the stage points he'll probably end up getting. He hasn't really been challenged for the lead yet, with Walker about 0.3 of a second back trying to mount a charge for third there. Was mounting a charge for second from third, and here he is trying to close in a little bit there on that Viagra Monte Carlo. But the stage is only 20 laps each. I think it laps 20 and 40 before the final 28-lap run to round out the rest of the race, but we're already just about halfway home through stage number 1 here on lap number 9. Bradley Ream and Brendan Wilmington have slipped back. We talked about Brendan Wilmington earlier on, a driver that does not need another couple of poor finishes because, again, this is a race where you need to have a solid top 25 finish. Because you go to Pensacola, you have no idea what's going to happen on the high banks at the Pensacola International Speedway. You could wreck. You could finish last. And the way that they're running right now, Wilmington with a last place finish would only gain 1 point, and he would be on the cusp of not making it in despite having 2 wins on the season. And again, the hits keep on coming because, you know, let's say Keegan Thompson has a solid run today but doesn't mathematically clinch. You know, he could have a bad run next week, and he could potentially clinch his way in with a wild card spot, and that's going to put a lot of drivers, you know, on the bubble right now. You know, that are in or trying to get in via the wild card. Guys like Russell Blaze, Matthew Huber currently holds that second wild card spot currently. Right now, 5 cars all in line with one another, and the field has gotten pretty much strung out here. You got a couple of pockmarks of double file and nearly triple file there, as we saw earlier on, but pretty much everybody all the way from Logan Alexander, who, like Michael Lewis and Riley Sampson, trying to keep all 4 wheels on the ground here this year at Trenton. Trying to get things going. Speaking of Michael Lewis's old car, that JBL 90 machine starting to march its way up to the front here with Bryce Egan. Egan started in 8th, and actually he has slipped back 1 position. So was running inside the top 6 at one point, but now he'll slip back just a little bit, and now Wyatt Walker might have a little bit of a run to the inside of that 14 machine. Campbell Marsh, the fastest car on the racetrack, but right now, Wyatt Walker looking for the race lead here with 12 laps in the books. He's looking really, really strong right now, and he might have a little bit of a run. Way up the racetrack goes Thompson. Here comes Wyatt Walker. Side by side for the race lead. Thompson is going to have the run on the inside going through turn 3. Walker will try and have to settle there for second for the time being, but how much rubber is he using up on that Bass Pro Shops Camaro? And how about these Chevrolets showing up in full force here in the top 10? You got Keegan Thompson, you got Wyatt Walker, Roberto Crown Jr., 5-car Cole Sampson. And actually, only 4 of them inside the top 10. In fact, you got to go all the way back to Russell Blaze for the most recent Chevrolet, all the way back in 17th. More of a Ford brigade, if anything, up in here. Well, they're enable another driver that with getting a second win would completely blow things up in terms of the chase. I think Abel winning would be probably more impactful than Keegan Thompson winning, since Keegan has already got a pretty sizable lead in terms of the cut line right now. But Abel, you know, currently 18th in the standings. 238 points out of the cut line. A win here today would do wonders for that second win. You can't count out a couple of drivers, you know, that haven't won yet this season. You know, that are inside the top 30, you know, that could get in based on the wild card. You look at Alex Lozano, the last couple of weeks that he has had in that 11 machine, definitely taking advantage of getting as far as he did in the Duncan month of speed. But you got him. You got even Mateus Bento if he's able to scrounge together another win here. Not sure if it's going to come here today, but finally that 71 Vodafone Charger running relatively decently inside of the top 15, 13th that last time by. He might gain a position as Caleb Rose and Dano Georgi will go side by side through turn 3. Back up front, it's still everybody chasing down that 14 machine in Keegan Thompson. One of the few quicker cars on the racetrack, and everybody at these race speeds running solid right now, not as nearly as fast as they did in qualifying yesterday, with Keegan Thompson getting a pole time of 34.27. His most recent lap as Walker looking underneath of him once again, nearly made contact coming off turn 2. That's not an area of the track that you want to make contact. We've seen it in years past, and Walker might have the inside lane here on that 14 car. Not quite able to put the power down and not able to get there in time to try and make it a menage a trois for the race lead is Campbell Marsh. 3 to go in stage number 1. And right now the battle for the stage points is a fervorous one. It's Alex Lozano trying to hold off Caleb Rose. Rose now trying a 2-front war, trying to hold off Dano Georgi. We look back in here. Went on board with him earlier, and it looks like that's the way things currently run right now. This will be the first season of competition that Braden Perez will not make the MBCS chase for the championship. That stretched all the way back to season number 2 in 2021, so a 5-year run, rather a 4-season run, will end after 5 years, a very down season for this Hulu 92 team, and they'll regroup going into 2027. Reggie Fogelman, another driver that was flirting with the cut line a couple of weeks ago. A couple of unfortunate runs for him has relegated him currently outside the top 20 back in 23rd. We talked about Matthew Hubert, the struggles that Zin Mission team has had as of recently. Fell down 5 spots after finishing last in the Old Spice 450 1 week ago. And here he is just trying to get a solid run to keep that wild card spot open, but the last thing he wants to see as Keegan Thompson, he has been passed, so we are once again the Fox Sports event of 2003, ladies and gentlemen, and Thompson really hemorrhaging spots. He was first, and now he's going to fall back to 4th, potentially even 5th here of Roberto Crown Jr. and that 5 of Cole Sampson are able to get on by. But it's been a trying season for Wyatt Walker, to say the very least. 36th on the year, no top 5s on the season, 5 top 10s. Currently 832 points out of the championship, out of the cut line as of right now. You know, looking at the top 30, he is only about 220 points out of the top 30 right now. You know what? A couple of wins. He'll win here today and a win next week at Pensacola. Wyatt Walker would be fighting for a championship. That is the beauty of getting multiple wins in this wild card system, that, you know what, it can be a little bit touch and go here. And again, you look at Alex Sanvitale in terms of the regular season. You know, in the regular season, wins, you know, they mean a lot for the wild card, they mean a lot for points, but Sanvitale, with how consistent that 96 car has been, is mathematically the only driver as of right now in the chase for the championship. But we mentioned it in the pre-race show, you know, starting last year with this added the adages of stages, you know, we are going to be getting chase points, you know, race-off points, if you will, you know, for wins. So Zachary Fitzwater with his 3 wins, that's a 15-point advantage he'll have over Alex Sanvitale. And, you know, based on the seeding as of right now, you know, Fitzwater and Sanvitale pretty much just nose to tail way at the back end of this field. So if Fitzwater falls down a position to Daniel Bouchard, which Bouchard is, you know, only a handful of positions ahead of him in the 07. In fact, pretty much everybody, the top 3 drivers, you know, that, you know, in the standings right now, it's funny that all of them are outside of the top 35. I don't know, you know, we could see things swing in favor of Zachary Fitzwater, which, the way they are right now, Fitzwater just remains with the 3 wins, and Sanvitale doesn't have any wins. You know, Fitzwater is going to have a 5-point lead after, you know, the bonus points are added up here. Fitzwater would have probably about a 5 or 6 point lead, depending on how many stages he's won this season. As well, we're well past the end of stage number 1, so those results will have been shown on your screen by now, as Wyatt Walker is going to win his first career stage win of the season, if I'm not mistaken. No, he won the second stage in Indianapolis, so he's got 1 stage win to his credit. Now he's got 2. The fight is on back in here as we're got 45 laps to go here in the NJ Transit 500. In case you're just tuning in, haven't missed much. All 42 cars still out on track. The big talk is the talking point of this race has really been the championship. Again, we talked about it a lot last week. In this race, has been a lot more. There has been a lot more passing within the pack. We've seen a lot more lead changes under the green flag. Not as many incidences yet. Still got to put a really big asterisk on potentially not getting any incidences, because again, they love to wreck under the car or wreck coming down the pit lane. Pit lane has always been a little bit of an issue for drivers here with how narrow it is. Just don't know how things are going to transpire, but we can tell you that Keegan Thompson, again, even though it doesn't have the lead right now, he's going to have a 10-point advantage over Corey Case, who has really slipped back. And, credit to Case, he has gained a couple of positions, didn't qualify well. Qualified in 37th, and credit to him, he's up in 33rd. But no stage points for him here in this opening stint. And you look at Keegan Thompson, at least 10 bonus points. I believe he fell back to 4th. Actually, I believe he was in 3rd, so, tack on another 18 points with all the bonus points and the stage points as well. So that is just further and further putting Keegan Thompson ahead. Keegan, he was only a handful of points, in front of Riley Sampson, behind Riley Sampson, behind Angel Gutierrez. I don't know if he's going to be able to catch up to Dano Georgi, given where that 34 car is running right now. And again, a lot can still happen in 41 laps. We could get mechanical failures. We could get wrecks. We saw it last week with Matthew Hubert. He was running, top 15 when he had a mechanical issue in that 23 car. Ended up finishing last in the race. Same thing with Brendan Wilmington. Anything can happen here today, next week at Pensacola. And then that's just the beginning of the chase grid. You go to the list of tracks that are in this chase. Darlington, of course, it's always been a race of attrition with tire wear. You got Gateway, that's been really crazy over the last couple of seasons. Kansas has been crazy. You got the 2 Denver races for the Casa Bonita Denver double. Nazareth, Milwaukee, 2 short tracks in a row. A super speedway with the Ricky Raceway. Homestead, Miami for our second 600-mile race of the season for the GTA 600. And of course, New Jersey for the Max Buchanan Foundation 500. To round out season number 6 here in 2026. But this time around, the pit window will officially open for these drivers. With 29 laps in the books, we'll see if anybody will pull the trigger a little bit early on here. Like we said, you're going to want to pit as late as possible, more towards lap 33 to 34. But we've seen drivers, we've seen chaos. When drivers come down the pit lane, misjudge their entries. We saw it with trying to find where Logan Alexander is in the 58. He's a little bit higher than I initially anticipated. Actually, no, we definitely missed him at some point. We are not good in terms of production here, ladies and gentlemen. There he is, just a couple of spots ahead of the boss man of Owen Miles, who is another driver kind of on the bubble right now. He, Derek Hamill, and the 90 of Bryce Egan, all getting into a little bit of a kerfuffle on lap 33 last year, right as the pit cycle opened up. You don't want to be going too wide. You don't really want to be going double file, going to the pit lane. You certainly don't want to be going 3 wide. And that's something we're going to have to be watching for going in this opening cycle here with the window opening up this time around. Nobody will come in here. Get any takers in the back. Angel Gutierrez peaking a little bit low, but I don't think he's going to end up pulling the trigger. Much a parade up in here, a little bit slow. There was the 45 and the 64. Again, you look at these lap times of 37.5, so these tires are really beginning to fall off here for these drivers, and they're getting really, really slow, these guys are. I would not be surprised if we see some drivers hit the pit lane here on lap 32. They'll stay out for now, 3 wide. Davenport caught in the middle there with Fogelman and Michael Lewis on the outside. Remember, Lewis was in a very similar situation 1 year ago when this last time by, the pace has dropped even further. 37.7 for Wyatt Walker. And these guys just tiptoeing their way around the track. I think Keegan Thompson might be coming down the pit lane this time by. Could see them coming down here on lap 33. Walker will remain out. And they're going to try and stretch it a little bit here at Trenton. Do we see any takers in the back? We do not. So it looks like they'll stretch it out a little bit more because, again, this time around, we could see drivers trying to split this race directly in half, but these guys are really slow. I don't know how slow these guys. 110 going in at turn number 1. And that has really caused these drivers to bottleneck into one another. This could get really dangerous really fast with how slow these drivers are back in here. And this could be that caution that we're talking about that could come out during this cycle of pit stops. Cole Sampson, first one to come down the pit lane. So here we go. Russell Blaze will go along with him. Do we see any other takers? Toby Murphy will pull the undercut, and those will be the only 3 drivers that come down. That's a very bold strategy for that 5 team. It was running up towards the front. Same thing with Russell Blaze, who does not need the caution flag to come out. He would be dead to rights at this point. Another 1/10 of a second knocked off or tacked on for these drivers here as they continue to just painfully trundle around here. Walker's going to remain out an additional lap. Keegan Thompson will pull the trigger, and looks like the majority of the field will do so as well. Here we go. Barretto nearly turned. Back up the racetrack. He goes. He clips the 98. That was Charlie Davenport. Did he hit the inside wall? I believe he did. So pretty much everybody's splitting this race directly in half, and that could have very well been our opening caution flag of the day. Keegan Thompson in his pit stall, a little bit of contact between drivers back in here. We talked about it as being a very technical and narrow pit lane to get down into. Down the racetrack comes the rest of the drivers. Wyatt Walker will lead everybody else down. We got a couple of drivers on that overcut. Caleb Rose will stay out for an additional lap. Contact, Danny Fallington. Alex Anvitoli gets spun. He's able to grab a gear, and he will hold on, only losing 2 positions in the process. Aaron Abel, I think he maybe have made some contact on the pit lane. That team desperately trying to repair that 21 car. That 48 car, excuse me. I saw Roberto Crown Jr. there for a brief moment. Here we go. Keegan Thompson, Russell Blaze. This could be a battle. Contact on the pit lane. Couldn't tell who that was. That was the Bruno Diacomo in the 64. And these drivers just now coming off. 3 wide for the race lead. Russell Blaze will scoot his way to the front. Caleb Rose still on the track. Gutierrez will come down. Barretto is in. Barretto's got a lot of damage to the front end, and the caution flag is out. Yellow's out on the speedway. It's Braden Perez. We got more contact. Somebody is around. Oh, upside down. It's Nathan Stapleton. He collected somebody else. It's Esteban Lasserre. And the yellow will come out right towards the end of the pit cycle. And I believe Cole Sampson is going to cycle out as the race leader. No, it's going to be Campbell Marsh, I believe. Or is Marsh going to be trapped or on the tail end of the lead lap? Angel Gutierrez, he also was caught by somebody, and he's going to lose a lot of time in the 18. But a big staple that'll officially knock him out of championship contention. And 2 different incidences will put us under the yellow flag for the opening time here, and Cole Sampson indeed will be getting the free pass, or rather the race lead. Dano Georgi, Logan Williams with damage. We talked about pit lane is probably the most treacherous place to come here in the MBCS. We are under the caution flag for the opening time, and it looks like stage number 2 will end under the yellow flag. We'll have to see once these guys cycle back around. Caleb Rose currently being scored as the race leader still. We'll have to see if a lot of these drivers will be on the tail end of the lead lap. Again, that caution flag came out right in the middle of the pit cycle. And we will have everything figured out here on the other side of this break. But caution number 1 on the speedway. Caleb Rose being scored as the leader. We'll have to check and see exactly who is going to be getting a wave around here, but we're under our first caution flag of the day. Right now, the pace car picked up Cole Sampson. We'll see who the race leader will be at the other side of this break, but until then, we'll take a look and see what happened to put us under this first caution flag of the afternoon here on the NJ Transit 500 at the Trenton Fairgrounds. So this started when Nathan Stapleton was coming out of the pit lane. You're going to watch him pull up the racetrack directly in front of the 92 of Braden Perez. And ultimately, that's on the spotter for saying not clear, and Perez is going to run right in the back of the 97. And both those cars are going to turn around. Perez is going to be broadside in the middle of the racetrack, and that's ultimately what's going to cause the yellow flag to trigger. So you can see the caution lights on your screen, and he goes sideways. He's able to keep the car off of the wall and pretty minimal damage on that 92, but you're just barely going to see. You're not able to see it from frame here until now. Nathan Stapleton in that 97 car was pushed down to the inside. We saw this between Cole Sampson and Riley Sampson last year. Down, just there's no way you can do. There's just no grip on this 97 car, and he's going to go right in front of our camera on the infield, and then Esteban Lacer, nowhere to go for the 64. He just gets cold clocked up the racetrack, hard driver's side, goes the Powerade 97, and he goes upside down. Just a feeling of helplessness there for both of those drivers. When one of them you're just driving on ice skates in the grass, and the other one you're just wrong place, wrong time. And this horrendous sophomore season for Esteban Lacer continues here in the 64 car. Zachary Fitzwater, he also got a little bit of a piece there in the 99, so that's 2 NS Racing cars that were involved in some sort in this accident. But this is really going to change things in favor of Caleb Rose. We did confirm that the 32 car was the first one off of the pit lane. Or rather, he was. He will transition. He will cycle around after staying out as long as he did. So this is going to be really good for Caleb Rose, but it's not really good for the NS Racing driver of Nathan Stapleton, as he will be out of the running. Same thing with Esteban Lacer here about midway through the running of the NJ Transit 500. We'll be back here in a few moments. We'll watch first from the vantage point of Nathan Stapleton. Just gets bumped by the 92, and around goes Perez, and you can hear him. He's off towards the inside wall, and he's full throttling that car. Trying to get it back, and pretty much LePage's Esteban Lacer. A couple of roly-polies, ends up on all 4 Hoosiers. Not what you want there for the 97 car, and he'll end his day on a wrecker. Tough end of the race here for the 97 Nathan Stapleton here at Trenton. From the vantage point of Esteban Lacer, this happened right in front of him. He was able to dodge the 92. He watched that 97 all the way out there. He's coming. He's got his target locked. Nowhere to go, and nearly up into the catch fence went Stapleton. Bounces down the racetrack, and that's going to take out at least 2 drivers here. A big mess midway through the NJ Transit 500. We'll get one final look at this in real time, following with the big staple. Pit lane on and off of it can be really dangerous here. You watch him just all the way down in the infield, and then nowhere for this 64 car to go, and just cleans him out. So a couple of incidences put us under our first caution flag of the afternoon here at Trenton, and like we were talking about, the strategy call of potentially this season for the Colonel himself of Caleb Rose, as he will end up on the right side of things with the freshest tires on this restart. The Colonel looking to get win number 1 of the season here as we're just about halfway home to the NJ Transit 500 here at the Trenton Fairgrounds Raceway. And we're back here at the Trenton Fairgrounds Raceway, and indeed, Caleb Rose has been confirmed as the race leader, and how about that? The freshest tires of anybody will be out ahead of all of these drivers, and I don't know why Matthew Hubert is lined up in 3rd as of right now. I believe Hubert is currently scored 1 lap down. But overall, here's the way they're going to stack up coming around to 25 laps to go. Caleb Rose is the leader, and he pitted right as that caution flag came out. Cole Sampson is 2nd. Russell Blaze will be 3rd. Keegan Thompson is 4th, and Wyatt Walker will round out the top 5. A slew of lap-down cars on the inside lane is really going to make things interesting here as Rose will lead them back through the Reese's restart zone. The Colonel with a green flag back out way in the air gets a great jump off for the restart. And here we go with 25 laps to go in the penultimate race of the regular season, and Cole Sampson way up the racetrack. Got really tight going through the turn number 1, and he might be put in the middle of 3 wide. Remember, these restarts get really crazy here at Trenton. Fanning it all the way out as everybody just trying to jockey around the lap down traffic. Meanwhile, Caleb Rose trying to scoot his way around that 13 car of Igor Beretta with all the lap down cars holding off everybody else. Look at that Oklahoma land rush with these drivers. Here comes Russell Blaze moving up into the 2nd position. Again, with how dominant that inside lane is and all the lap-down cars restarting on the inside lane, that is going to pay dividends for a lot of these drivers. And Angel Gutierrez right now is essentially going to need a fantastic race. He is 3 laps down after an incident on the pit lane. Back at the front, Caleb Rose still leading Russell Blaze back by a 2nd. And Rose has got a lot of friendly fire around him. You got Russell Blaze, a lot of bogeys out in front of him as that 00 of Thomas Troxel, one of the cars that is currently a lap down on the outside lane. You know, a lot of these drivers are hoping for a quick caution to re-rack things here. Try and get another stab at that 32 car. 22 laps to go, and Caleb Rose, no stranger to leading and winning in unorthodox ways. It's been, again, we talked about the 62 and the 92 as teammates for Pacific Racing. It's been a really down year for that organization, but even still, they do have a couple of wins with Brandon Wilmington. That's the whole reason the 62 team is within spitting distance of this championship. And a win for Caleb Rose would certainly make things very interesting going into Pensacola. We know how well Pacific Racing is on the super speedways, but again, you never know what's going to happen. But Rose, given the tire strategy that he's on, again, he was the last car to pit, and the caution flag came out at the very perfect time. And here he is in that Tide Ride 32. Not only a 2.5 over Russell Blaze. Blaze is going to have to navigate around 4 cars if he wants to catch up to that 32 machine on older tires. Is that 29 machine, but I think definitely Russell Blaze would take the position he is in. Again, he is only 75 points outside of the cut line. Right now, we talked about Angel Gutierrez, currently 40th on the grid. He's only 88 above the cut line. We know how well Keegan Thompson has ran in this race. Dano Georgi, he's a lap down, so he would likely not lock up a championship spot. Neither would Zachary Fitzwater, nor would... Actually, Daniel Bouchard's in 20th, so he could... I believe, given where that 07 car is running, he should lock up a spot in the chase. We could very well get another caution flag, and look at Keegan Thompson dropping like an absolute stone for the pole sitter. Contact between him and the 45. That was tight there off turn 5, and Thompson are caught right in the middle there as Logan Williams is on the outside. ton of three-wide racing as, again, you go back to Keegan Thompson. He and Charlie Davenport swinging off of each other on the pit lane. That ultimately didn't cause a yellow flag, but I'm really wondering if that contact really hindered that 14 car, because Keegan Thompson has not looked the same as he did in the opening 15 laps of this race. Under 20 laps to go, and the big question is, how will these drivers race on old tires? Because, again, everybody was able to stretch until the halfway point of the race. I thought we had a spin back in there. The shadow of the pit lane, or the shadow of the bridge, caught me off guard there for a brief moment, so I thought we had a spin. I thought that was going to be our second caution flag. But we will keep things green for the time being, and you look back at Campbell Marsh, got really shuffled back there after that cycle of pit stops, currently 22nd in that 31 machine. The slew of drivers off of the lead lap with 28 cars on the lead lap, 40 cars still on track. Blaze knows the time is now to try and get in front of these drivers, but just way ahead of him in 2.5 seconds is the advantage for Caleb Rose. But that could all go away in an instant with a yellow, yellow, yellow coming out from the speakers, and Igor Barreto trying to hold that position. 29th right now. Currently has just a little bit of a gap over Matthew Hubert in the 23. And Barreto would be getting the free pass if the caution flag were to come out once again here. You look at Roberto Crown Jr., Wyatt Walker, and Cole Sampson tracking back there in the 5. The way things run is Sampson and Durrani will go side by side. I believe Cole Sampson will likely get a top 10 finish, but he is going to need a win next week at Pensacola to punch his ticket into the chase for the championship. And who knows at this point when it comes to the 62 of Brendan Wilmington. Good news for Wilmington, he's actually running in 13th. So he got bailed out by that strategy call. And the caution flag coming out when it did, ironically, it involved his teammate. So Wilmington, after starting this race in 38th, pretty much running outside of the top 30 for the majority of this contest, is going to get bailed out. And the way things run currently, he will be getting a top 15 finish. Just trying to keep that 62 out of harm's way. A little bit easier said than done, but 14 laps to go. Time is certainly on his side, but time is not on the side of Russell Blaze. Now the gap 4 seconds as Caleb Rose has been clear of these lap down cars, and Blaze continue to be held up. He might lose second here as Roberto Crown Jr. has been slowly but efficiently slicing and dicing his way up through the top 5. He restarted in 5th, and here he is already up to 3rd, fighting for 2nd right now. Again, Russell Blaze was one of the 3 cars to come down initially down the pit lane. It was him, Toby Murphy, and Cole Sampson. So I think those wore out Hoosier tires are definitely starting to hurt him here on the long run. We're definitely seeing with Cole Sampson. He's dropped back to 7th that last time by. He might actually bow out of the top 15 by the time this race is done. The strategy call might not be playing out for that 5 car, but again, a lot can still happen. Here we go, battle for the lucky dog position. Matthew Hubert, he desperately needs this, because the way they run, I don't know if Russell Blaze's position as of right now in 2nd would be enough to put him inside the top 10. And this very well could be a battle, because if Blaze does have enough to get inside the top 10, you look at this battle up in here, this could be the battle for the wild card between Matthew Hubert and Igor Barreto. Those two separated by 40 points, and they're going to need every point possible. Right now it's in favor of Matthew Hubert the way things currently are. Then again, you look back at Keegan Thompson in that 14, down to 16th. Corey Case is marginally better. He's in 26th. Actually, no, he's marginally better than Corey Case, and again, he does have a really big advantage over him. Oh no, we're just watching the points as they currently run right now. We do believe that Daniel Bouchard, with the way he currently runs like we talked about, just needs a top 25 to essentially clinch his way mathematically into his first ever championship spot, in his chase for the championship spot. It's hard to believe, he's kind of been the anti-Braden Perez, a rookie in the same season in 2021 and could just never get it done. Finally got that first career win last year at Homestead, won the Daytona 500 this year in 2026, and he and Alex Vitale have been the two poster children for consistency. All the way across the board, and you go about in the middle of the regular season, Bouchard was slipping a little bit there, but some solid top 10 finishes, 9 top 10 finishes on the season. Second, actually tied for second with Matthew Hubert, behind Alex Vitale. With under 10 laps to go, Caleb Rose just continues to open up that gap. It's now 4.5 seconds over Russell Blaze. Blaze might be in trouble here as Crown Jr. on those newer tires. He will maneuver his way to the inside of the 29. We go back to last year's race. A late race restart. When Logan Williams was out front, Zachary Fitzwater ironically went around at the 99 to set up a late race charge. Or a late race restart. We got 3 wide back in here. We could very well get another caution flag. It is certainly within the realm of possibility. Again, point of no return is 2 laps to go. So until we get to that point, ooh, that could have been that there. Sam Vitale got loose on the inside of the 71. As Mateus Bento was dropped back a little bit, back to 24th, right behind the 24 of Riley Sampson. And that very well could have been contact and our second yellow flag of the day. 7 laps to go. Toby Murphy a little bit on the outside wall. Again, he's on that same strategy as everybody else in that 38. The 2024 champion slipping back there as well. Same thing for Corey Case. Case is going to essentially be in a must-win situation to make the chase for the championship next week at Pensacola, if that. Roberto Crown Jr. still 4.5 seconds back of Caleb Rose. He is going to need a caution flag to come out to catch up to that tide ride. That is the gap, about maybe 50 car lengths between the 32 and the 21. It's hard to tell. It is a lot of time between those two automobiles. And again, we talked about the struggles for Caleb Rose. 38th in the standings. Only 1 top 5 finish on the year, and he's had his slew of top 10s. 6 of them on the year, a pole position earlier on in the season. But it has just not been clicking for the Colonel. Of course, focusing a lot of his attention to the Tow Car Cup Series. With 5 laps to go here in Trenton. A track where he wrecked at a handful of weeks ago in the Tow Car Cup Series. Trying to remember what the actual title sponsor is for the Tow Car, top division of Tow Car. The Sprint Cup Series. So again, focusing a lot of his attention towards the Sprint Cup Series at Tow Car. I feel like that's caused a little bit of a drop in performance with 4 laps to go. Gap continuing to grow here, but again, the majority of these cars pitted at about halfway, and we're already seeing about high 36s for these drivers. So the fall off is certainly there. The 3 wide is not there, however, for these guys. Again, we got until lap number 2 to wreck here, to reset the grid and really throw Caleb Rose in a stage of panic at the end here. 3 laps to go. He just needs to complete just 1.5 miles to get to the point of no return. And then these drivers can wreck to their heart's content. Danny Fallington, 3rd driver lap down, is going to finish in 31st. One of those drivers that could have mathematically clinched themselves a spot here in the chase. And he is likely going to be on the bubble going into Pensacola next week. Crown Jr. trying to make a late run here in that 21 car. And Russell Blaze just trying to hold on desperately for that third position. He got that 90 car right behind him there, lurking to the background. Sticks high in the air, 2 laps to go. We're at the point of no return. You're wrecked now. That will be the end of the race. Oh, nearly. There was some contact between Lozano and Abel. Those two able to hold on for now. Keegan Thompson continuing to slide back in the 14. Actually, he gained a spot. He's up to 15th the last time we checked on in on him. But up at the front, Caleb Rose off turn 5, the penultimate time of the penultimate race of the regular season. White flag is in the air. One more time around the Trenton Fairgrounds Raceway for this 32 Tide Ride machine. Like we talked about, it has been a season of trial and tribulations. And we talked about the overcut was going to be the viable strategy for these drivers here today. Caleb Rose pitted the latest of anybody. The caution flag came out at the very picture-perfect time, and by 5 seconds over Roberto Crown Jr. off turn 5, Harlan, Kentucky's Caleb Rose. The Colonel's gonna get the job done here in Jersey. Caleb Rose, your winner of the NJ Transit 500. Roberto Crown Jr. will come home in second. Third will belong to Russell Blaze. Fourth will be Bryce Egan. I believe that'll be enough for Bryce Egan to mathematically lock himself into the chase. And rounding out the top 5, how about a top 5 finish for Rogel Dorn? His fourth top 5, his third top 5 finish of the season, fourth top 10. So a good result for him. Wyatt Walker, Rowan Miles, Ryan Durrani, Cole Sampson, back-to-back top 10 finishes, and Alexander Rowe will round out the top 10 on the pylon. What a strategy call for Caleb Rose and his return to Jersey. Colonel will get his first win of the season, 6th of his career, if memory serves me right. Here on the MBCS, make it 5th of his career, 7th on the NESRN. And the Colonel will find victory lane here for the opening time in 2026. When we take a look at your official standings, Caleb Rose by 5 1/4 seconds over Roberto Crown Jr., your winner here at the NJ Transit 500. Blaze Egan, a couple of rookies inside the top 5, and Rogel Dorn rounded out the top 5. Talked about Wyatt Walker, Owen Miles, Durrani, Cole Sampson in a row, the top 10. Brandon Wilmington brings it home in 11th. That should be well enough, and especially with his teammate getting the win. I believe we said it earlier that Brennan Wilmington could... Well, no, a third win of the season would mathematically lock in Brennan Wilmington. But Wilmington is looking in really good shape going into Pensacola next week. Keegan Thompson, the pole sitter, finished a respectable 15th after all of that. Go down, Riley Sampson finished in 21st, a solid result for him. Dano Georgi was 34th. Again, he was a little bit on the cut line, 109 points above the line. Logan Williams, 37th. He's going to be in a must-win situation going into Pensacola next week. Same thing probably with Angel Gutierrez. Like we talked about, a lot can transpire in 500 miles here in New Jersey, and we're going to do 500 more miles next week at Pensacola, as that will wrap up today's broadcast here on the North American Sim Racing Network, and that's going to do it here from the Trenton Fairgrounds Raceway. Congratulations once again to Caleb Rose for winning the NJ Transit 500. And like we talked about, it all comes down to 500 miles under the lights of the Sunshine State next week in the City of Five Flags. Coverage for the NEX 500 from the Pensacola International Speedway gets underway at 8 o'clock Eastern Time on Saturday, August 30th, right here on your home for the MBCS, the North American Sim Racing Network. Thank you once again for tuning into today's coverage of the NR2003 Mission Barbecue Cup Series. Here are your point standings after race 26 of the 2026 MBCS season. And from Hamilton Township, New Jersey, on behalf of the North American Sim Racing Network, my name is Trey Wright. Have a great evening, folks. We'll see you next week down in Pensacola for the regular season finale.